The tunnel that calls your name. Riku had never considered himself the type to be easily scared. Ghost stories were just that, stories. Myths passed down to entertain children or to make an otherwise boring night around a campfire more exciting. He had always been rational, logical, grounded in reality. That was before the tunnel. That was before something in the dark whispered his name. It had been a routine trip, a short visit to his grandparents in a quiet rural town tucked away in the mountains of Tokaji Prefecture. The weekend had been peaceful, filled with his grandmother's home-cooked meals and long conversations on the wooden porch of their old house. But as the sun dipped low on Sunday evening, Riku packed up his things and prepared for the drive home to Tokyo. He punched his address into the GPS, expecting it to take him along the usual winding roads through the hills, but something was off. The route it gave him was unfamiliar, slightly different from the one he remembered taking. A shortcut, maybe? It cut the drive by almost 20 minutes. He hesitated, but not for long. After all, GPS was supposed to be smarter than memory. That was his first mistake. The second was not turning back the moment the trees closed in around him. The road that shouldn't exist. As he followed the directions, the road began to narrow. At first, it was just a subtle shift, the trees on either side of the pavement growing denser, their branches reaching overhead to form a tunnel of their own. The further he went, the thicker the canopy became, blocking out more and more of the evening light. The smooth asphalt turned to something rougher, cracked in places where roots had begun to break through. A fine mist curled along the edges of the road, rolling in from the dense forest beyond. His high beams cut through it in slices, but the fog swallowed the light just as quickly. Riku glanced at the GPS. The screen flickered. For a brief moment, the map vanished, replaced by nothing but a spinning loading icon. Signal lost. He frowned, tapping the screen. No service, no map. Just a blank screen reflecting his own confused expression back at him. He checked his phone, same problem. No signal. That was odd, but not impossible. He was in the mountains, after all. Reception had never been great out here. Still, a nagging unease curled in his gut. The air inside the car felt stale, too still, like the oxygen had thinned somehow. He rolled down the window slightly, letting in the crisp night air, but that only made it worse. The moment the outside breeze slipped in, it carried something with it. A whisper. Faint. Almost too quiet to hear. Riku. He slammed the window shut so fast his own reflection jumped in the glass. His heart was pounding, but he forced out a shaky laugh. Relax, he muttered to himself. You're just tired. Hearing things. But then he saw it. The tunnel. The tunnel without a name. It appeared suddenly, looming ahead like a gaping black maw carved into the mountainside. There was no warning, no signs, no indication that it had ever been part of this road. The entrance was wide, its walls cracked and covered in creeping ivy, as though nature had tried to reclaim it long ago but had given up. Something about it felt wrong. The kind of wrong that made his stomach twist in protest. The kind of wrong that sent something cold slithering down his spine. He pressed the brakes, coming to a stop just before the entrance. The tunnel stretched ahead in a perfect, unnatural darkness. His headlights barely penetrated the gloom, swallowed by the black void beyond. Riku checked the GPS again, hoping for some guidance, but the screen remained blank. No signal. No route. Nothing. He considered turning back. It wasn't too late. But then, the engine sputtered. The radio crackled to life, filling the car with a burst of static. Then faintly, underneath the hissing distortion, a voice. Keep going. His blood turned to ice. He punched the radio off. No. No way. His mind was playing tricks on him. That was all. He was exhausted, on edge, and his own paranoia was making shadows into monsters. With a deep breath, he gripped the wheel tighter and did the only thing he could. He drove forward. The second his tires crossed the threshold, his headlights flickered. Just for a second. But in that brief moment of darkness, everything changed. The longest tunnel in the world. The tunnel was silent. Oppressively silent. The kind of silence that pressed against his eardrums, making them ache. The moment he entered, the temperature dropped. Cold air seeped through the vents, and a damp, musty scent filled the car. The walls were old, their concrete surfaces marred with deep cracks, the occasional stain of something dark smeared across them. Water dripped from the ceiling in places, forming shallow puddles along the edges of the road. It should have been a short tunnel. It should have ended already. But as Riku drove, the darkness stretched endlessly ahead. His headlights barely illuminated the path, swallowed by the void beyond. His fingers tightened on the wheel, his pulse quickening. Then, the whispers returned. Riku. Soft. Faint. Coming from the back seat. He didn't dare look. But he could feel it. The presence. Cold breath against the nape of his neck. The feeling of something sitting behind him. Watching. He gritted his teeth. His knuckles turned white. Then. The headlights flickered. For a fraction of a second, the tunnel wasn't empty anymore. There was someone standing in the middle of the road. A woman. She wore a white kimono, her long black hair hanging over her face. And her mouth. It was wrong. Her lips stretched too wide, splitting her face into an unnatural grin. Her skin was pale, almost gray, like something drained of all life. Riku's breath hitched. He blinked. She was gone. A rustling sound. Inside the car. He didn't want to look. He didn't want to look. But his body betrayed him. His eyes flicked up to the rearview mirror. And there she was. Sitting in the back seat. Her head tilted slowly, her hair falling away to reveal her face fully. Her grin widened. Cracks formed along her lips, splitting the skin, exposing raw, red flesh underneath. She leaned forward. Closer. Her breath was cold against his ear. Slow down, Riku. You'll crash. And then. Light. The exit. Riku gunned it, the car lurching forward. The tunnel spat him out onto the open road. The night air rushed in. The world returned to normal. The tunnel behind him was gone. But his GPS wasn't. Route recalculating. And beneath it. Next destination, the tunnel.